Hey, PC here for another episode of Collaboration Solved. Today, we'll dive into the topic of setting up objectives to help out teams to work together towards a common goal. To get practical steps on how to apply what we will discuss today, visit collaborationsolved.com. And my guest speaker today is Sandra Pretzer, based in Germany. She's a systemic business coach with tons of experience on the field, transforming businesses, coaching people on how to set actionable goals. She also runs a Lean Coffee meeting to discuss the OKR framework. It's a great pleasure to have you today. Thanks for joining us, Sandy.
Thank you, Pierre. Thanks for having me.
All right. I hope that people who's listening this episode are already fully excited to try this out. I propose you to go into the nitty-gritty details a little bit. So let's say I have the right condition. I have leadership buying. We are dealing with complexity. We have future value that we want to expect from a user, and we can start small. We already have a pilot. What steps should we follow to implement an OKR experiment?
Right. So the first steps in your scenario you've already done. So you have aligned on the why OKRs, you have management buy-in, you have a common understanding and a commitment from the management. So this is the very first step and very important. We look at the company vision, right? Vision and purpose, and see if it's really like a resonating vision and purpose statement that employees really resonate with, and it's not just a writing, just not a sentence on the wall or on the company website, but like really co-created and really tells a story. And does it go like a vision statement, like in 10 years we have gained a market share of 23.2%, but really like a compelling future. So we see if that's in place. We work off of that, right? So we'll take a look at the organization, right? We take a look at basically the org chart of an organization, really define like the starting architecture. So what does the pilot look like? Around what strategic topic should they align, or if it's a whole department, like what should be the strategic focus for them? So it's a very individual like architecture workshop, but to see what people could be good fit to approach, right? I've seen like OKR implementations or adoptions work best when it's invitation based. So management really like calling on all hands or whatever, making transparent what this OKR experiment is all about, right? The things that they aligned in the why OKR workshop that they had before, right? So we observed this and that, and we really think that OKRs will help us solve this because X, Y, and Z, and we really want to try this out with you folks. And we want to invite you to go on this journey with us and really learn and set us up for the future and really try to reap the benefits. And like I said, there will be early adopters who are willing and eager to try this out. And with those people, we look at artifacts that are already there, like the company vision, like I said, or maybe there's already a company strategy or a product strategy or strategic pillars, strategic themes, and see how we can align around that. So the next step would be to educate the people participating in the pilot. We would call for an OKR master or OKR masters, plural, if we have multiple teams joining in the pilot. So OKR masters is like It's very similar to an agile coach or scrum master, but just for the OKR framework, and very, very important for an OKR success story. Then we look at the highest level of the OKR pilot, right? So their focus for the next 12 to 18 months. So what would it look like in a year from now, right? Bringing the vision closer to us, assuming that the company vision is set for 10 plus years or infinite. And so to have an anchor for the next 12 months to see what is the vision for the next year, right? Like, what is our focus? What are we saying no to? What are we not doing? And then we have this pilot align around this midterm goal, as I like to call it, right? Midterm strategic goal for the next 12 to 18 months. And those OKR pilot teams or the OKR pilot team would then come together and define their objectives and key results for the next OKR cycle, which is most commonly around 3 to 4 months. Then they would start, right? So they start their OKR cycle. They have regular OKR check-ins, like I recommend once a week. It doesn't have to be long, like 15 or 30 minutes, but just to align around the OKR achievement, and also making it a habit, talking about OKRs, aligning around strategic goals, around initiatives, like what experiments do we want to try to really move the needle on the key results that we defined. Also, a common pitfall, number 5, is that you lose focus, right? So there's so many things that you want to do, and you end up with like 6 objectives, and each of them has like 5 key results, and then suddenly you have like 30 goals and whatever. So to be honest, like you're not going to be able to like finish even one of them probably. I always recommend the teams that I work with to focus on one objective and like 3 to 4 key results max. But then really look at what's the biggest step, like what's the lever that we really want to shift, and align around that. And then at the end of the OKR cycle, you have reflection meetings, like the OKR review, where you look at your key results, like what's your achievement rate, and did you achieve the objective or not? What in the OKR process has helped us? Were there any dependencies that we weren't aware of? Did we manage to create outcome-oriented key results, or were we stuck at output level? Were the metrics too lagging? Whatever, right? Like anything that regards the OKR process and structure is reflected on in this OKR review. And this can be an open meeting. Like I always encourage the teams to make it open to invite guests. They cannot actively participate, of course, but like to really make sure that you share that learning. This is one part. And the second part is of the reflection meetings is the OKR retrospective, which is basically like any retrospective, but just focusing on yourself as a team, your communication, your collaboration, no guests, but a safe space to really reflect on your collaboration and communication style and continuously improve. And with the learnings you take from the whole experience from the first OKR cycle, the OKR review and retrospective, you go into another OKR planning. You look at the midterm goal, you look at the progress that has been made towards the midterm goal, you reflect on if it's still relevant, if it's really resonating, do you need to change something in the midterm goal statement, then the cycle continues. Does that make sense?
Yeah, exactly. I see now much clearer how does that ties to the evolution in the leadership role, giving a space to the team to build their own key results attached to company objectives. help the team to collaborate better because they will create their own results.
Yeah, exactly. And doesn't really matter what's written there in the end.
Mm-hmm.
It's the conversations around that it's important. Because I've seen I'm seeing this a lot right now with, hey, let's have ChatGPT write our OKRs and save tons of time. I mean, this is the road to hell, basically, because you are neglecting your creative muscle that only we as humans have. And these conversations around, okay, like what are we focusing on in the next 3 to 4 months? What ideas do we have? What do we observe? Like,
Yeah.
what do you mean with improvement of customer satisfaction? Like, what does that look like for you? And those workshops are so important, like really coming together and communicating and hashing things out and bouncing ideas off of each other, and then have them, writing them in form of objectives and key results, which is your OKR set that you use for as an indicator for the next 3 to 4 months. But the conversations prior are like loading those objectives and key results with so much power and alignment and commitment that, like ChatGPT cannot do.
And you just give me an idea.
Tell me.
We're talking about brain muscle and try to not offload this to an artificial intelligence for making great OKRs. Completely aligned with you. I want to make a very small experiment right now to make sure that the listeners can see the difference between a bad phrased OKR and a good one, for example. So let's say I have a bad idea. I want to have an output oriented goal, which is I want more viewers. Okay, I want 2,000 views on my show. I can maybe even try to go a little bit further because I have key results, and maybe it's I want 200 by month, and I can track that. But from what I understand, it's a bad way to use OKRs, right?
Yeah, well, so with examples, it's a thing. Like I coach organizations to implement the work with OKRs, and I also train OKR masters, right? And this is like the most common questions, like, okay, give us examples. And there are examples out there. I mean, you can Google them. I mean, it's fine. The thing with examples is exactly the thing that I just talked about when we talked about ChatGPT. When you are not aware of the context where those examples have been created, they might mean nothing to you, right? So of course there's like parameters that are relevant for effective objectives, like don't have a metric in them, use it as a visionary statement, like a mini vision, right? It has to be members of the HL community of Montreal love my podcast or are delighted by my podcast or whatever. So for key results, like I said, we want to go for outcomes, right? So this is something that we can influence, but we cannot control, which is why some teams might be anxious about setting them, because outputs we have more or less control over, right? I can, you can produce like 100 episodes and you can post about it 1,000 times, but what if nobody ever listens? Did you achieve your goal or not?
So if I took that thought, the first step that you say was why, what I want to change, what I want to reach, what are we trying to solve, is the basis because it will make me think differently.
Yes.
In a way, I will look at things that I want to measure that indicates a future value instead of just piling of numbers.
Yeah. Yeah. So you always want to, see what the like, what is the behavioral change that I want to see in my target audience, whatever.
All right. Thanks a lot, Sandy, for being there.
Thank you, PC, for having me.
We had lots of precious insights today. I'm pretty sure some folks will be eager to experiment, have a small pilot. See you next time for another exciting show to give you these tons of practical tips and tricks on the field and change collaboration at your workplace. Until next time, des bisous.